You can read English, you can write English, you understand English grammar, you know hundreds, maybe even thousands of English words. You can even understand me perfectly when I speak like this. But then you watch an American movie, you listen to a native English speaker, or you hear two native speakers having a conversation, and suddenly you start thinking, wait, what did they just say? You know every word they are using, but somehow when those words are put together and spoken naturally, you can't recognize them. If this happens to you, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with your English. And no, native speakers are not necessarily speaking too fast. There is something else happening. In today's lesson, I'm going to explain exactly why you can understand English in classroom but struggle to understand native speakers in real conversations. And more importantly, I'm going to show you what you need to start listening for. By the end of this video, you should understand natural spoken English much better. So let's begin. Number one, you are learning the wrong version of spoken English. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you learned this sentence. What are you going to do? Very easy, right? You know all the words. What are you going to do? Now imagine a native speaker saying it naturally. What are you gonna do? Or even, what are you? What are you gonna do? Suddenly you're thinking, what are you? What word is that? But here's the interesting part. There isn't a new word. The speaker is still saying, what are you going to do? The difference is that spoken English changes when words come together. Native speakers don't usually pronounce every word carefully and separately as your English textbook does. And this is one of the biggest reasons learners struggle with listening. You learn English as individual words. Native speakers use English as connected speech. That's a completely different listening experience. Think about it this way. If I teach you, did you eat? You can understand each word, but in natural conversation, you might hear, did you eat? Did you eat? The words have changed their sound. Did you become something closer to did you? And if your brain is waiting to hear the exact pronunciation you learned in class, it may not recognize it. This is why sometimes you can read a sentence perfectly but fail to understand it when someone says it. Your vocabulary isn't necessarily the problem. Your brain hasn't yet learned the pattern of natural speech. Number two, native speakers connect words. This is one of the biggest secrets of spoken English. Words don't always stay in their own little boxes. They connect. For example, pick it up. When spoken carefully, you can hear something like pick it up, but naturally, pick it up. The final consonant of one word can connect to the vowel at the beginning of the next word. Another example, take it. Take it. It can sound almost like take it, or turn it off, turn it off. The words flow together. Now listen to this. Look at it. You might expect look at it, but natural speech can sound more like look at it, look at it, look at it. Not because the speaker is being careless. This is simply how connected speech works. And this is something you need to train your ears to recognize. When you're listening to native speakers, stop expecting every word to arrive separately. It doesn't work that way. Listen for groups of sounds. All right. Number 3, native speakers reduce words. Now we come to another huge reason. English has something called weak forms. This means that some common words are often pronounced in a weaker, shorter way when they are not stressed. Take the word to. When you learn English, you may learn to, but in natural speech, to is very often pronounced t. So I want to go can sound like I want to go or I want to go. The word to becomes very weak. Let's take another example. The word can. You learned can. But in I can help you, the word can is often unstressed. It can become can. Can. I can help you. So if you're listening for a strong can, you may miss it. The same thing happens with words such as for, and, of, a, the, can, have, was, were, and many other common function words. For example, bread and butter in natural speech and may sound like bread and butter. Bread and butter. So and may sound like so you hear bread and butter. Cup of tea may sound like cup of tea. I want to may sound like I wanna. This is why learning vocabulary alone isn't enough. You also need to learn how those words behave when they are spoken. Number 4, the schwa is everywhere. And that brings us to one of the most important sounds in English, the schwa. Its symbol is er. Listen carefully. It's the relaxed vowel sound you hear in many unstressed syllables. For example, about. The first syllable is not a strong A, it's about. Another example is banana. Notice something? The first and last vowels are reduced. Banana, banana, banana. Not banana, okay? Another example, sport, support. The first vowel is weak. Support. And this happens constantly in spoken English. The schwa helps English speakers move quickly and naturally between sounds. If you've never been taught to hear the schwa, natural English can sound very different from the English you learned from a textbook. So one important step toward better listening is learning to recognize reduced vowels. Number 5, native speakers don't stress every word. Here's another major difference. Many English learners pronounce every word with almost the same level of strength. But English doesn't normally work that way. Some words are stressed, others are reduced. For example, I want to go to the store. The important words are want, go, store. The smaller grammatical words are often weaker. To becomes to. The may become weaker. I want to go to the store. I want to go to the store. Every word is equally strong. Now listen to this. I want to go to the store. The second version sounds much more natural. And here's the important part. If you have been trained to listen to version 1, version 2 can feel difficult. You are waiting for sounds that aren't strongly pronounced. So when you're listening, don't give every word equal importance. Listen for the stressed words. They often carry the main meaning of the sentence. Number 6. The T sound can change. Now let's talk about something that causes huge problems for learners of American English. The letter T. You learned that T is pronounced T, right? But in American English, T can have several different pronunciations depending on where it occurs. For example, water. Many American speakers don't pronounce the T like the strong T you learned in school. It can sound more like water. Better can sound like better. City can sound like city. This sound is commonly called the flap T. Its IPA symbol is like this, a flap T, alright? So water may be pronounced approximately water, and better may be pronounced better. If you learned to expect a strong T every time you see the letter T, American speech can surprise you. And this is just one sound. There are many other pronunciation changes that can happen in connected speech. Okay, number 7. Words can disappear. Now here's something that really confuses learners. Sometimes sounds become so weak that it feels as if the speaker has completely removed the word. For example, did you eat? You might hear did you eat? Did you has become something like did you? Another example, what do you want? This can become what do you want? Again, the speaker isn't inventing new words. Your brain simply needs to learn the sound transformation. And this is why watching movies with subtitles can be so useful. You hear, what do you want? You look at the subtitles, what do you want? Then you realize that is what they said. Your brain begins connecting the sound to the written form. That's exactly the connection you need to build. Number 8. You may be translating in your head. Now let's move away from pronunciation for a moment. There is another reason learners struggle with listening. They translate. Someone says something in English, your brain hears it, then you translate it in your first language. Then you understand the meaning. That process takes time. But native speech keeps moving. So imagine someone says, I was going to call you, but I got caught up at work. Your brain tries to process, I was going to call you. Then, wait, what does gonna mean? Then, oh, going to. Then, but I got caught up. By the time you finish processing the first part, the speaker has already said 3 more sentences. This is why you need to gradually train yourself to connect English sounds directly to meaning. Instead of English, first language, meaning, you want to develop English, meaning. This takes practice, but it is absolutely possible. Number 9. You may know the word but not recognize its spoken form. Here's a fascinating problem. You can know a word perfectly in writing and still fail to recognize it in speech. Take the word probably. Many learners pronounce it carefully, probably. But in natural conversation, you may hear something closer to probably, probably. Another example is comfortable. Many speakers don't pronounce every syllable as clearly as the spelling suggests. Comfortable. You may hear something closer to comfortable, or different. Native speakers may produce it quickly and some sounds may be weakened. The lesson here isn't that you should deliberately remove sounds from every word. The lesson here is that you should learn to recognize common natural pronunciations when you hear them. There is a difference between speaking clearly and understanding natural speech. Your goal is not to speak carelessly. Your goal is to become flexible enough to understand different pronunciations. So how do you fix this? Now let's get practical. If you want to understand native speakers better, don't just listen to more English randomly. Listen strategically. Here are 5 things you should start doing. Number 1, listen to short clips repeatedly. Don't always listen to a 30-minute movie and hope your brain magically improves. Take a 10-second clip, listen, pause, listen again, look at a transcript, listen again, then repeat what you hear. That tiny clip can teach you more than passive listening for an hour. Number 2, use subtitles intelligently. Don't depend on subtitles forever. Use them as a bridge. First, listen without subtitles. What did you hear? Then turn on English subtitles. What did you miss? Then listen again without subtitles. This teaches your brain to connect spelling with sound. Number 3, learn connected speech. Study things like linking, weak forms, reductions, assimilation, elision, the flap T, sentence stress, word stress, and intonation. These aren't just advanced pronunciation topics, they are listening tools. Number 4, shadow native speakers. Here's how. Listen to one sentence, pause, repeat it exactly as you heard it. Try to copy the pronunciation, the rhythm, the stress, the pauses, the intonation, and the speed. Don't simply read the sentence aloud. Imitate the audio. That's called shadowing. Number 5, stop expecting perfect pronunciation. This is extremely important. Native speakers don't always speak like language learning audio recordings. They hesitate, they shorten words, they connect sounds, they repeat themselves, they change pronunciation depending on speed and context. That's real spoken English. Your job as a learner is not to force native speakers to speak like a textbook. Your job is to train your ears to understand real speech. Alright, now we're going to test you. Let's test you. Now I want to give you a few examples. Don't look at the answer immediately. Try to figure out what the speaker is saying. Number 1, what are you doing? What does that mean? What are you doing? Exactly. Number 2, did you eat? That's, did you eat? Number 3, wanna go? That's, do you want to go? Number 4, I'm going to call you later. I'm going to call you later. That is, I'm going to call you later. Notice what happened? The written form and spoken form can look very different. But once you know the patterns, they stop being mysterious. So if you can understand English when you read it, but struggle when native speakers talk, please don't immediately conclude my English is bad. Maybe your vocabulary isn't the main problem. Maybe your grammar isn't the main problem. Maybe you simply haven't been trained to understand natural spoken English. You've learned the language. Now you need to learn how the language behaves when people actually speak it. You need to train your ears to recognize connected speech, weak forms, reduced vowels, the schwa, sentence stress, word stress, intonation, sound changes, and natural reductions. And most importantly, you need to listen repeatedly and actively because there's a huge difference between knowing what English looks like and knowing what English sounds like. And if you've ever watched an English movie and thought, I know English, but I don't understand what these people are saying, you're definitely not alone. Tell me in the comments, what is harder for you? Understanding American English, British English, or both? And if you'd like to understand native speakers more easily, subscribe to my channel because in the next lesson, we're going to break down the actual sounds and patterns that make natural English so difficult to understand. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.